Support for Radio Friends comes from Lebrunnery Financial, where they work to ensure a lifetime of financial security for people from all walks of life, from investment services to retirement plans. If you're looking for a trustworthy company that has the experience and knowledge to put your interests first, contact Lebrunnery Financial, a community-based investment counseling firm since 1966. Good morning and welcome to Radio Friends. This is Tuesday, June the 28th. It's a pleasure to have you with us today. If you listen to our program, you know from time to time we have MOST on. It's called the MOST Policy Initiative. And today I want to introduce you to the Deputy Director of MOST, Josh Mueller. Good to have you here, Josh.
Thanks, Paul. Thanks for having me.
So if people are not familiar with what MOST is, why don't you give us a real quick definition there?
Sure. So we're a group of early career researchers trying to connect science to policy at the state legislature. So as folks might know, there are hundreds and thousands of issues that move through the legislature each year, and the staff does their best to cover everything, but there's really just limited resources. So what we try to do is bring folks in who serve as sort of a free, rigorous scientific resource to provide background information about legislation really in just about every topic area, from agriculture to health to education, you name it. So yeah, sort of trying to serve as information on demand.
And I like the fact that you emphasize you're trying to keep it scientific.
That's right.
Science. You're trying to keep the emotion out of it, but present the facts. Is it difficult? Because a lot of these topics are very emotional.
Yeah.
How do you keep the emotion out of something like gun legislation?
Sure. Yeah, I think what we have found is really important is to start by forming relationships with legislators, to get them to see that even though what we try to bring to the table is something that's dispassionate and factual and based on facts and figures, right? That we are people, we have values as well. We have things that we care about. We have family. We have history in certain places, right? And from that starting point, I think that really defuses some of those hot button issues so that it prepares them to hear that if we have information that we've dug up in the research that maybe they don't think is going to help their particular legislative cause or goes against what their pre-existing beliefs were, at least they're not seeing that as a hostile sort of attack on their identity and on their values. So I think that's really where we start at that relationship level. And then once you've established that trust, then whatever you bring can be sort of dispassionate.
Do you feel that you have made a difference? Do you feel that information that you have given to these lawmakers has actually played a part in legislation?
Yeah, this is the question that we get most often, right? Is it's great, more information in principle is always better,
right,
but then what happens, right?
When I sit back and look at things locally with the Missouri legislature and I look at Congress, and I see two separate sides, neither side is budging, and nothing gets done.
Yeah. No, let me frame it like this maybe. So I think one of our important roles is doing sort of the thing that you are talking about, is trying to defuse and make things a little less personal and a little less one side versus the other where possible. So I think one of our real successes is anytime we hear a legislator on the floor speaking to their colleagues, look down at a piece of paper and refer to a fact or figure that we know was something that we provided them. I think we feel procedurally that is a healthier place to be discussing what is out there in the research ecosystem.
Now, have you done that yourself where you look and you'll see the legislator looking down and quoting something that you've given them?
Multiple times this year, yeah. So I think that's sort of one soft way that we're measuring our impact at this point is thinking about how we can contribute to elevating science and research in the discussion and maybe avoid some of the other frustrations that you're noting here.
Let's go to a real hot button topic there, and that's gun control.
Sure.
How do you approach gun control with the state legislature?
Yeah, so I think our only foray into this topic has been writing a policy brief about gun storage and gun safety. So one of our current fellows, Dr. Jill Barnes, covers sort of human services and public safety issues and really approached this from, I think, a public health and public safety standpoint, and went into the research literature and found out what different rules exist at the state, local, federal level regarding gun sort of safety and storage. So at the point of purchase, is the manufacturer required to sell certain equipment, be a lockbox or a trigger lock or something like that? And then what sort of rules exist as a gun owner? What sort of responsibility do you have to sort of ensure that your household and neighbors and community are safe, given that you have a weapon in your home? So that is, I think, the only contribution that we've made to the discussion. And again, I think trying to do this sort of thing where, rather than getting into the values argument with people about whether you like guns or you don't like guns, able to point to sort of technical potential solution here, because I think people agree that every gun death is a tragedy. And so trying to figure out what has worked in other places and then at least put that on people's agendas. Yeah.
So you're trying to talk about the personal responsibility that they have, but there really are no laws on the books.
And so I think, yeah, that is sort of where we come in, is to not necessarily make this suggestion and say that here is exactly what you should do to prevent this going forward or something like that, but essentially to show the menu of what have other states tried, and then once they've tried it, if they have stricter gun storage requirements, for example, or stricter penalties should you not store them properly and something should happen, how does that correlate with the number of firearm-related deaths? So that's the sort of thing we would provide, yeah.
Do you ever take tips or information from just the general public?
We love that.
Do you reach out, or do you allow people to contact you and say, hey, this is what I think. Why don't you try to get this across to them?
We do, and we love that. I think that's why we're on talking with you so often, Paul, is because I think we really want this to be a community-led effort. We are responsive to the legislators primarily, but we know that the legislators are there as a proxy for the people. And so, yeah, folks can reach out to us via our website, via social media.
Okay, if somebody has some thoughts, how can they contact you?
Yeah, so if they visit our website, mostpolicyinitiative.org, they can find our sort of institutional email, which is info@mostpolicyinitiative, and we are happy to do whatever we can
do
through that.
And do you respond back?
And then we do, yeah. We've got a team of 7 of us right now, so there's no excuse for someone not to be at their keyboard. But then we also have our personal emails on there, so if people are interested in a particular topic area, for example, health and mental health or education and workforce issues.
What do you get most feedback on?
You know, it's hard to say. I think just idiosyncratically this year, we had a lot of people interested in sort of agriculture and environment issues. We had folks reaching out to us to ask about things going on in their community and rural communities. But I think sometimes it trends with the news, whatever is the hot topic of the day. Someone will reach out and say, that's interesting. Do you have a sort of scientific take on this? So anything and everything, Paul.
All right. So if people want to help out and give you some advice to give to the legislature, maybe going through you will get to the legislature quicker.
We would love that.
All right. They can contact you. They can either email you or give you a phone call.
That's great.
Thank you so much. It was a pleasure meeting you, Josh, and come back again.
Will do. Thanks, Paul.
All right. We're out of time for today. Have yourself a nice day. Bye-bye.